The title of this video is Athens and Springfield, and there's a reason I entitled the video this way. It is actually a continuation of the video that I presented on the Looking for Lincoln signs back on March 19th. And the reason I did this, and I'll explain this as best I can and as quickly as I can. As you well know, I have been tracking down these Looking for Lincoln signs that were set up by the Looking for Lincoln Heritage Coalition. And when I do these kind of trips, I'm very focused on them. I try to get as many signs in one shot as I possibly can, due to the fact that gasoline, well, it's about $3.45 a gallon, so you want to try to get as many signs as you can in one particular shot. And I had already driven, as you saw in the last video, I had driven from Mount Pulaski to Elkhart to Middletown, and now I was headed straight into Athens. And I don't know about anybody who's done a lot of road traveling, but you know that that highway can really get to be mesmerizing. You're kind of hypnotized by it, and you get a little exhausted. So by the time I had gotten to Athens, I was still feeling pretty good, but you know, the road was kind of getting exhausting on me. So I was not, well, never mind. Point is, when I got to Athens, my goal, my focus was to videotape the sign, let you know that it was right across the street from the Long Nine Museum, and then to go on to the Illinois National Guard Museum and videotape the sign out there. You see, the Illinois National Guard Museum closes at 4:30. And I had arrived at Athens about 3:45, so I was kind of on a tight schedule. But I knew that if I really worked hard, I could probably make it to the Illinois National Guard Museum. Of course, this pleasantly changed when, as I was videotaping the sign, I happened to notice a nice elderly gentleman watching me. Well, I was kind of curious about this, so I walked up to him. I stopped the videotape. I walked up to him and I said, "Well, who are you?" And he asked me if I wanted to have a nice tour of the Long Nine Museum. And I said, "Well, of course I would, but the museum doesn't open till June." I said, "I'm not really sure how I'm going to get this tour." And he says, "I'm the curator." I'm like, "Oh, wow. All right." So I said, "All right, we'll just skip the Illinois National Guard Museum, and we'll just catch it on another day, and we'll just go ahead and do this, because this is an opportunity I didn't want to miss." So he took me in, and you're going to actually see the footage of the Long Nine Museum, and it was spectacular. I'm glad I did what I did. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that I didn't get the other museum, but that's okay, because this was fantastic. This is a museum you don't want to miss. It was too cool. It really was. So, in a couple minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what I saw, and I hope you like my presentation. However, I also wanted to let you know that after I got through with Athens, I did actually go to Springfield. I did not stop at the Illinois National Guard Museum. It was too late by that time. But I did go to the Springfield Arts Festival, and the Springfield Arts Council. Sorry, Springfield Arts Council. There is a sign in front of their great big pink house, and you'll see it. And I wanted to show you real briefly how to get there from Athens. When you go from Athens, you're going to take Route 29. You're going to go down what is called J. David Jones Parkway. Okay, and when you do, you're going to make a right-hand turn, and you're going to head for MacArthur Road. And when you do, you're going to get the end of MacArthur Road, and that's the I'm sorry, that's not the airport. That's the Illinois National Guard Museum. Okay, but if you want, I'm not doing very well at this. If you turn right, you're going to go to the Illinois National Guard Museum. If you turn left, you're going to go to 1st Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street, 4th Street. You're going to go to 5th Street. And the reason you have to go to 5th Street to get to the Springfield Arts Council is that you're going to have to go down to Union Street. 4th Street goes up like this, and 5th Street goes down like this. So once you get to 5th Street, you're going to take a right on Union Road, and you're going to take another right on 4th Street, And, okay, so here we go. You're coming from Athens. You're going to go to J. Davis Jones Parkway. You're going to make a left-hand turn on Grand. Okay, from J. David Jones Parkway, you're going to make a left-hand turn on Grand, and then you're going to proceed on to 5th Street. Okay, and when you go to 5th Street, you're going to make a right. And from 5th Street, you're going to go down to Union Street. You're going to make a right on Union Street. You're going to make a right again on 4th Street, and there's the Springfield Arts Council. And when you do, you'll find the 1858 Senate race sign. And I will show you that at the end of my wonderful presentation. I hope you enjoy the Long Nine Museum. I fully plan to go back in May to videotape. The curator wants me to see all these wonderful houses, so on and so forth. And I hope you enjoy my presentation. I hate to say it, folks, but my video is a poor representation of what's really out there. If you think you've seen all of it by just watching my video, you haven't. I'm sorry, you really haven't. You need to see it for yourself. And you'll see why as you watch the video. Alright, enough about the Springfield Arts Council, enough about all the rest of it. I will tell you more in a future video, so stay tuned. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Athens, Illinois. And over here, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of pictures of this, is called the Long Nine Museum. I'll go ahead and this is so much information, I'm not even going to read it. Well, okay. It says, Long Nine Banquet Site. In this structure built about 1832, residents of the Athens area held a banquet on August 3, 1837 for the Long Nine, Abraham Lincoln and the other state legislatures from Sangamon County. The men, whose height totaled 54 feet, were honored for their success in the 10th General Assembly in changing the state capital from Vandalia to Springfield. State officers were moved in 1839. At the Athens banquet, Lincoln gave a toast. Sangamon County will ever be true to her best interests, and never more so in the reciprocating the good feelings of the citizens of Athens and neighborhood. Okay? And then we have another sign over here. It says, Abraham Lincoln, Deputy Surveyor, Sangamon County, Illinois, 1833 to 1837. Abraham Lincoln Survey of the Sangamon Town, Athens Road relocation. Beginning January 1, 1834, New Salem was to receive mail on a new schedule. The stage was to leave Springfield each Saturday at 4 a.m. for the Warren Courthouse in Monmouth, Illinois, by the way of Sangamo Town, Athens, New Salem, Havana, Lewistown, Canton, and Knox Courthouse, Knoxville, a distance of 115 miles. Return mail was to leave Warren Courthouse each Tuesday at 6 a.m., arriving in Springfield at 10 p.m. Thursday. On June 3, 1834, Abraham Lincoln, as the Deputy County Surveyor of Sangamon County, Illinois, was appointed by the County Commissioners Court to survey the relocation of the road from Sangamo Town to Athens. The survey was completed on November 4, 1834, and the road became known as the Post Road. Lincoln started his survey at Sangamo Town and ended by setting a stone at the intersection of what is now known as Main Street and Jefferson Street and Athens. But that is not why we are here. The real reason why we're here, believe it or not, is because of this. That's right, folks. It's another Abraham Lincoln sign, and as you can plainly see, it was right across the street, and I'll show you this in just a second. It's right across the street from the Long Nine, right here. I'll tell you about this story in just a second.
On January 2nd, 1848, on November 4th, 1831, he moved the post office from his home into this building and changed the name from Rogers Post Office to Athens Post Office.
Wow. Okay, well, what else shall we see?
Do what now?
I said, what else did you just show me what you want me to see? And
well, we're going to take a little tour.
Okay, well, let's go. Alright folks, we are in the Long Nine Museum in Athens, Illinois. Okay.
Each one of these dioramas has a message on it.
Oh.
I don't know how much audio you've got there, but
Well, just press the button and let's just give it a shot.
On a chilly March 24th, 1835, Abraham Lincoln surveyed 2 tracts of land for John Kennedy Kincaid. One of them lay in Section 23, approximately 2 miles north of Athens. While there, Lincoln laid aside his compass and his chain for a while to split a few rails for Mr. Kincaid.
Okay.
now here's one taken. Okay, it's self-explanatory.
Colonel Rogers has closed the store for the evening. Young Abe Lincoln just finished telling one of his humorous stories.
Okay.
Colonel Matthew Rogers constructed the 2-story frame building in 1831. Harry Riggins, the colonel's son-in-law, then opened a store here. He had obtained a merchandising license from the county on April 23rd of that year. Colonel Matthew Rogers next moved the post office on November 4th from his home to a room in this building and changed his name from Rogers to Athens. At times, Harvey Lee Ross carried the mail on horseback between Springfield and Lewiston. Athens and New Salem lay on his route.
See, this is under Colonel Matthew Rogers' building, and the Long Nine Museum is just within the building.
From the Indian treaties signed between August 3rd, 1795 and September 15th, 1832. There were 16 separate treaties signed by the U.S. government and the 19 Indian tribes. It was not uncommon for 2 tribes to claim the same land. The land in this area was originally owned by several tribes. However, the Kickapoo tribe had last claim to the land. The U.S. government signed a treaty with the Kickapoo Indian tribe on July 30th, 1819 at Edwardsville, Illinois. The cost of the land was about 1/6 of a cent per acre. The U.S. government then sold the land to the pioneers for $1.25 per acre. In 1836, while Abraham Lincoln was making his bid for the legislature, his horse turned up missing. Lincoln ran an ad in the Sangamo Journal describing his horse under the heading of strayed or stolen. In order to maintain his speaking engagements, he borrowed a horse from Mrs. Robert Wilson of Athens. On July 16th, 1836, Lincoln gave the first of 10 speeches in Athens. While running for the legislature his 3rd time. Robert Wilson also ran for the legislature. On August 1st, voters elected both Lincoln and Wilson. They became part of the Sangamon County's Long Nine. In 1834, Abraham Lincoln surveyed the post road which runs in front of this building. Tradition has it a Native American assisted Lincoln in the survey. In the center of this road, about 40 feet from the building, Lincoln's survey mark can still be observed. In the early part of 1837, Josiah Francis purchased this building from its original owner, Matthew Rogers. In 1841, Mr. Francis failed to make a building payment. Colonel Rogers was left with no alternative but to hire the law firm of Logan and Lincoln to sue for repossession. Abraham Lincoln took the case personally before Judge Samuel H. Treat on June 29, 1841. Lincoln won the suit by default on December 3rd of the same year. A copy of the brief, written in Lincoln's own hand, is on display in the Long Nine History Room. The framework for this building, built in 1832, was constructed of 9-inch by 7-inch oak beams. The beams were cut with mortise joints and held together with wooden pins as shown in the lower left of this picture.
This one's really going to surprise you.
Framing for this structure was circular sod. The sawmill was powered by a steam engine. Jonathan Dunn, an Athens merchant, advertised his steam-powered saw and grist mill located at Athens, Illinois, for sale in the Sangamo Journal on February 4th, 1833. Another Sangamo Journal article states that Captain Bogue, the Talisman steamboat captain, had the Sangamon River stream saw and grist mill operating a year before the Talisman arrived at Sangamon Town. York City in 1828.
Oh, wow. Ooh, wow.
We got starting here.
Oh, okay, it starts here. Okay.
By 1820 or earlier, Colonel Matthew Rogers, a New Yorker from Osage County, had built a cabin on an 80-acre tract 1 mile northeast of where the town of Athens would spring up. As soon as the Federal Land Office opened, Rogers then bought this farm on November 29, 1824, for $1.25 per acre. In 1825 and 1827, he purchased additional government land. There, inside his home, on January 2, 1828, he established an official post office called Rogers. He and his family resided in this house for many years. Abraham Lincoln and Anne Rutledge borrowed books from him on many occasions. Abraham Lincoln, while living in New Salem, learned that Colonel Matthew Rogers owned a fine collection of books. Colonel Rogers had brought along to Illinois an entire chest filled with scholarly publications. Lincoln quickly asked the Colonel to lend some of them. Among the volumes Lincoln took to study were Samuel Kirkham's English Grammar and Blair's lectures on rhetoric and Bell's letters. Likewise, Anne Rutledge also made good use of Colonel Rogers' library. America's first steam train, the John Bull, was built by Robert Stephenson and Company of Newcastle, England. It arrived in Philadelphia in August 1831, the same year that Abe Lincoln settled at New Salem. Lincoln's life map, made by Leonard Gold in the spring of 1860, when Lincoln tried one of his famous law cases, Johnson versus Jones and Marsh in Chicago. Between court sessions, he went to the sculptor's studio, where both made a cast of his face. It was a cumbersome procedure. The mold was all in one piece and clung hard. When Lincoln first saw the cast, he burst out. "There's the animal in myself," he said. Pictured here are members of the Illinois legislature known as the Long Nine. The Long Nine, led by Abraham Lincoln, played a vital role in removing the state capital from Vandalia to Springfield. The total height of the Long Nine members totaled 54 feet and are placed at their respective heights. Abraham Lincoln was the tallest at 6 feet 4 inches. Please continue your tour into the banquet room where Abraham Lincoln toasted the citizens of Athens and neighborhood on August 3, 1837.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Oh, we got more.
Okay.